Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman. Today, you guys, I am sitting down with Amir Hassan. He is the GOP candidate running for Congress in Michigan's 8th District. He's a Flint native. He's a Navy veteran, a former federal law enforcement professional, and he is running on an America First message that is focused on border security. ICE enforcement. You know, we like ICE over here, okay? We are talking about fighting fentanyl and public safety and just putting working families back at the center of policy. And listen, I am bringing him on because a lot of you're tired of the same empty speeches that a lot of the Democrat politicians are discussing, how they're treating the border chaos like it's some kind of humanitarian hobby. Meanwhile, you, me, all of us in the community, we're paying the price. So please, I want you guys to welcome to the show Amir Hassan. Hey, Amir, how are
I'm
you?
blessed to be here, April. Thank you for having me. Hello to the audience. I look forward to this conversation. It's a long time coming.
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to get right into it. I want you give us your 60-second origin story. I've learned a lot about you. We know you're from Flint, but what is it that you want
Right.
people to know most about you? Like, what happened that made you run for Congress?
Oh man, it's really a short story, really. When you look at Flint, Michigan, you know everybody's heard of the water crisis by now, but before the water crisis, we were the birthplace of the middle class, the birthplace of GM, the birthplace of UAW, the home of the sit-down strikes of the 30s, home of Rosie the Riveter. And since those times in the 50s and 60s, we've been in a steadily decline. When NAFTA, which sent our jobs overseas, came into GM and they sent the jobs to Mexico and Canada, we've been going down in the wrong direction. We've lost more population than any part of the state. Michigan is next to last in losing population in the state. My district is first in the state of losing population. Our educational opportunities have lost. Our diverse workforce opportunities have been lost. So we're looking at a place where once was very, very successful. Now it's just remnants of it. It's memories that we have to hear from our grandparents or our parents. More side on recent news, I'm a father. I got two daughters. And the first time I saw a man go into the bathroom with my daughter, first thing was two men went into that bathroom that day. And I'm just sitting there making everybody uncomfortable because my daughter's not about to be in there with a man. Secondly, me as a federal agent working for two administrations, the past two administrations, you see that this is an agenda. You see that people are pushing agenda that our community, in the black community, in the inner city, the urban areas, we don't jive with. We never have been anti people. However, we protect our families, we protect our faith, we protect our traditions. And for somebody to come in here in a Trojan horse and put stuff on us, just not with it. So that made me step up. Having the connections in DC, living and working in DC, understanding it's possible for somebody from my beginnings, humble beginnings, blue collar man to represent his district. I'm taking advantage of it, and we're going to bring change to a district that badly needs it for the first time in over 50 years.
Absolutely. I love it. So you and I met, we were in DC. We both went to the White House. We both were at the Black Conservative Federation Gala. Had a great time. You
Mhm.
looked amazing.
Well,
The
as you
thing,
did.
right, thank you. The thing though that struck me about you that made me want to connect with you was one of the very first things you said to me. You said, I know this is the Black Confederation, Conservative Federation, but this hyphenated thing, it's a
Mm.
concern for me. And you
Hmm.
mentioned a term that made me say, where'd you hear that before? Or what do you mean when you say that? You talked about urban conservatives. Talk to me
Absolutely.
why about you believe the term urban conservatives is a better way to frame the advent of
Hmm.
all of these people that are coming into the conservative movement, because they're all not just black. I
Correct.
don't want to speak for you, but you kind of sounded like you were saying that saying black conservatives was too alienating. I don't want to speak for
Hmm.
you, but talk to me about why you prefer the term urban conservative over black conservative.
Well, it's just that. When you look at conservative ideology, there is no difference between white conservative, black conservative, Hispanic conservative. I'm not a black Republican. I'm a black man. I'm an American, and I'm a conservative. Really, I say, look, that's my ABCs: American, black man, conservative, all independent of each other. So don't call me a black Republican. Don't call me an African American because I'm an American. Simply as that. I pay my taxes to America. I don't get a discount for it because they're black. I don't play black taxes. And so when we're talking urban conservative, I'm from the inner city. And so when we're having conversations about freedom to carry or freedom of speech, it's different in the urban community than it is in rural America. We have a different understanding of our conservative principles and ideology, yet it still is conservative and we still want the same things, but we're approaching it from a different angle. I always feel like the left, they always talk about inclusivity and inclusive, but they're the ones who segment. They're the ones who put labels on everything. They hyphenate everything, gay American, black American. We're just Americans here. So the urban conservatives movement is people from the inner city that are traditionally covered by Democrats. You look at the major cities, metropolises in this country, they're usually carried by Democrats. But now you're seeing a rise of people from the inner city who's like, I don't agree with it. I truly believe fiscal responsibility is the way to go. I believe strong borders and law and order is the way to go. I believe in family and protecting our boys and protecting our girls. I believe in the nuclear family. All the things that they have pushed on the inner city where majority of black people live. Last I checked, 70+% of all black people live in the inner city. No
Wow.
longer.
Right. So you said something that actually was going to lead me to my next question. I know you're running as an America First politician. However, you brought up border security. I know a lot of your background has to do with federal law enforcement. I want you to talk to my audience. Like, where do you stand on ICE enforcement and the deportations? Like, how do you feel about that? And what kind of policies would you present to help us improve that situation? Or do you believe what the Trump administration is doing is just fine?
Yeah, no, I back the President Trump and this administration when we talk about ICE. I'm full stop in supporting law enforcement. So I
Yes.
was in the military, I was law enforcement and intelligence. In the civilian world, I was federal law enforcement. Some of my best friends work in ICE. And so this idea, and I've heard people go on different platforms and say ICE is the KKK. I said ICE is not Democrats. KKK were Democrats. So that's that's a lie, first of all. Secondly, it's one of the most diverse federal agencies we have as far as racially. It's large percentage is Hispanic. Then you have a large amount of blacks. And so I thought in this country, we wanted to be able to get jobs regardless of your skin color, whatever industry you wanted to go to, as long as you're qualified. As soon as we do that and we enforce the law for all Americans, they try to say we're something of a villain or something of trying to dissect and kidnap and murder. That's not true. Where I stand is if you're American, I protect you. If you're non-American, there's a way to become American. You follow those rules, then I will protect you once you become American. Other than that, I don't protect you and I don't stand for you. In the law enforcement, we have a thing called fruit of a poisonous tree. That means after you commit one crime, everything that comes after it is illegal. Hence, after you come to this country illegally, I don't care what you do. Everything after that is illegal. As simple as that. I support legal immigration. I support immigrants in our country. I love them as I love every other American. If you're here legally, I will support you. I want you to thrive. I want you to have less taxes, less compliance like everyone else. But if you come here illegally, well, full extent of the law.
Right. I also noticed you've done some federal law enforcement and you've been involved with some of those violent protests. Talk to us a little bit about what that was like and how is it that you actually relate to the idea, your Democrat friends, they want our ICE officers to be unmasked. It's almost as if they want to put them in a position to put them in harm's way. How does that directly affect you? And could you kind of help our audience understand why that is horrible? I mean, if you ask
Right.
me, that demonstrates that Democrats absolutely hate Americans because they want to put Americans, namely our ICE officers, in danger.
Well, you said it clearly. This is the issue. And I'm going to start speaking to these people, these Democrats and some independents as they like their politicians to speak to them. So I'm going to speak very softly and very calmly when I say this. These are the people that come to your neighborhood to protect you on your worst day. And what I saw was a man was masked, an ICE agent, and the woman said, "You're black. you're on the wrong side, you're a traitor, and then started calling them the N-word, right? And that lets you know right there their vile nature. They don't care. They just want somebody to say what they say and be in their echo chamber.
Right.
ICE wear masks. My best friends in ICE, I have two best friends in ICE, both in Atlanta. They wear masks when they go out because people are trying to take their picture and dox them. People are taking pictures of their license plates, trying to find where their children go to school at.
Oh,
So you hate me so much you about to go target my children?
right.
That's why we wear masks. It's not to go in the thief in the night and creep and crawl. That's not what's happening. It's just the fact that the left and all Antifa and every other organized chaos agent out there, they're professionals. They're going after these people and trying to upend their lives. They are trying to meet them when they come out the grocery store and hit them with OC. And when we were out in Washington State, when they were trying to take over the federal building, one of these years, they've been doing it every single year for the last 5 years, 6 years, throwing frozen oranges, frozen eggs. They have gas masks, throwing gas bombs, spitting in the food, finding out where your hotel is, playing the music loud next to your hotel so you can't get any sleep. This is what they're doing. And you ask for who? Who are you fighting for? Why are you doing this if I'm just trying to get illegals out of our country like every other country in this world does? So
Right.
to anybody out there who questions what ICE does, they're not breaking up happy homes, trying to destroy the fabric of the families. That's already been done by the left and the government years ago. What they're doing is restoring law and order so we can have a foundation that we can build upon and create proper legislation that allows us all to grow as a nation. Regardless of the traumas of the past, we've progressed past it. And it's time people look at where we are and look at us as one nation, unified under God for justice and liberty for all.
That was an amazing answer. And it kind of leads me into my next question. I don't know how much you know about my platform and my show, but there's always a monkey wrench that I've gotta throw. The, the
Always.
the the vast majority of my audience are conservative and they are Christian. And
Mm-hmm.
it does bring up an elephant in the room. And this is just an
Mm-hmm.
honest discussion between two
Please.
American patriots. The elephant in the room is that, as you know, I am a Christian and
Mm-hmm.
you're a Muslim. And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Americans they have a discomfort with
Absolutely.
the ideological underpinnings of the Muslim faith. But I've met you
Mm-hmm.
in person. You and we have no beef outside of these theological differences that make
Mm-hmm.
us different. But what I would
Mm-hmm.
like for you to do is talk to us. What should my audience know about you and your values on
Mm-hmm.
religious liberty, and how will you govern in light of the fact that a lot of the people in your district may be Christian and the
Mm-hmm.
question of your faith is going to come up? How are you prepared to
Well,
deal with that?
first of all, I just appreciate the honest conversation. And I always
Yeah.
appreciate these questions because the only way we grow and the only way we learn is through conversation. If a politician or anybody running for elected office is scared or tries to shy away for those type of questions, they shouldn't be doing it. So first of all, my background is I was a church kid. I grew up in the church 3 times a week. Look, we had teen night on Wednesdays, choir practice on Saturdays. And then if I was lucky, we only had one service on Sundays. But we had to travel and go get dinner at the other church around the corner and listen to your pastor. So I grew up in Baptist church in Flint, Michigan. I'm very much an American. I lived that same life growing up.
Right.
And we can go, after air, we can go gospel hit for hit if we want to. So that's it. But my journey of faith, when it comes to America and the protections America and the Constitution provides, it is freedom. It's freedom of self-expression, freedom of faith, however you choose to do it. My journey is not over, for one. For
Right.
two, Jesus was the foundation of my life growing up. Jesus is still the foundation. I always say Muslims love Jesus just as much as Christians. We can debate or as far as like theologically
Mm-hmm.
roles and titles, but the point is I live my life according to the principles in which I was taught, and I was taught the foundations of Jesus. Jesus spoke of an agape love, which is to love as I did. And that's what I do. So I don't come across as anything. I come across as a man that God works through, as a vessel for his love. And as long as we love our neighbor, as long as we don't push indoctrination that goes against biblical or Quranic or whatever teachings people go by to make your life better, I think we have room for a conversation. When it comes to geopolitically and we look at some of our enemies and some of our allies and the differences of religion, I think that's an honest conversation. So when America has concerns about Islam because of what we saw from 9/11, because of the wars we've been involved with for the over last 20 years, and Iran being a state sponsor of terror, calling death to America and calling for a jihad, I understand those concerns, but there's a difference between national and state-sponsored religion or extremism versus just the everyday person that adheres to a different faith within a country that's still American. I'm an American first, as majority of Muslims, because Muslims don't believe in abortion. Muslims believe in marriage. You look at their rates in their community, specifically the Arab or Middle Eastern Muslims in America. We have a large contingent here in Michigan. They believe in the same conservative ideals as Republicans and as conservatives and as Christians. So it has to be a lane. We speak about urban conservatives early. A lot of people, they understand that the black community is conservative. They've been voting Democratic for a long time, but they're conservative. So therefore, there has to be a lane for them to come over to our party, same as people who may not be Christian as majority of this nation. You're right. My district is majority. I will put it at 90+% Christian. And what I always let them know is I'll always protect them. I'll protect their religious liberties, and people coming to this country need to assimilate to this country's culture. So we'll never be a London or a Paris. We'll never be that. We'll always be America, and we'll protect it. But I would not apologize for anyone or to anyone for having my own spiritual journey.
Right.
God isn't done with me yet, and this is where I'm at in my journey. I'm not, and that's where I'm at with it.
Right. You know what? That's a very fair and honest answer. I have nothing but respect for you. I mean, even as a Christian, I recognize that we're all image bearers made in the image of God. And I believe as American patriots, we all should be treating everyone with dignity and respect. One thing, though, that I noticed that was interesting about you, you are strongly pro-Israel and anti-Iran nuclear, which, you know, when I think, and now pardon my ignorance, but when I think of Muslims, in my mind, I'm thinking Rashida Tlaib. I'm thinking Ilhan Omar. They're not two of the top favorite people on my list. From your perspective, why is being pro-Israel and anti-Iran nuclear a non-negotiable for U.S. security? How can you bolster confidence in the American people who would vote for you so that we would feel confident that you're saying that's a non-negotiable for U.S. security? Why is that the case for you?
First of all, I'm an American. American First platform means I'm American, and I spoke on this before. There's no bias with me. There's no personal with me. I'm an American, so we have to keep Americans and American interests first, foremost. Israel has been our best and top ally in that region of the world where we don't have many. It just so happens that with this recent skirmish right now with Iran, we have Qatar, we have Oman, we have Bahrain, which has always been friendly with us. They've come to our side now because Iran has hit them as well. So we're starting to build that. And that's under President Trump's administration. We have the Abraham Accord that they bring in these Arab nations, these Muslim nations in friendship with America. So what you're seeing is this isn't Muslim versus Christian. This is America versus enemies. This is America and allies versus enemies. And it just so happens that our enemies are of Islamic nations. But hey, listen, if you're not America, you're my op. It's simple as that. If you're not America and you're not my allies, let's go to war if need be. Or we can negotiate and have diplomatic relations. We can do it the soft way, the better way. That's the way. I'm a veteran. I don't want to send anybody to war. God bless the families that just lost their loved ones in war, the 6 patriots we lost. I want to take a moment to send them prayers and condolences. I've lost friends.
Right.
I've lost friends both in civilian life and, well, civilian life before I ever got to the military, civilian life in federal law enforcement and in the military. So this is personal to me. However, my allegiance is to this country. I'm a foundational Black American. I don't make two parts about it. I've been here 300 plus years, and my roots run deep. And so there's nothing no one can tell me about my Americanhood or where my allegiance lies. I pledge allegiance to America. I pledge allegiance to my community and my family, and we're gonna rock with it.
Awesome. Well, for our last question, since you're up in Flint, I recently visited Detroit. last
Mm-hmm.
year, and it really grieved my heart just to look around at the decimation of the community. I know one of your policy initiatives is just economic improvement and
Absolutely.
possibly, attracting industry there to that part of the country again. Talk to us about why you believe you're best suited to do that. I know you come from a GM
Mm.
family, so you know
Correct.
what it used to be like when
Correct.
you graduate high school, you go work at the plant. Well, now
Correct.
there's not that. Talk to us a
Mm-hmm.
little bit about what you think that you'd be able to do if you were to win in your district to kind of help bring back some sort of economic resurgence to that region again.
Well, that's a great question. The beautiful thing about our area is the industry left, but our heart and our know-how did not leave. We are an industrial blue collar place. And so when we speak about the emerging technologies coming around the country, the need for development, the need for warehouses and people to turn those wrenches, people to build those robots, and the data centers need space. We have industrial space available that's not centrally located in the middle of a neighborhood, that's not going to kill trees and grass. We have the space available. So what you need is a person that thinks innovative and innovates, and then has the idea and the foresight to go seek the industries that are going to be the future of this country and the future of this world. When I speak about the decimation of my district and I talk about my opponents or the left not doing it, it's not to throw shade. What I'm saying is, if had they done this appropriately, we wouldn't have the unemployment rate we have. We wouldn't have the dropout rate we have. We wouldn't have the poverty rate we have. But they didn't care about what comes next. GM started leaving in the late 70s, early 80s, the same time as the crack epidemic came, the same time. So look, you have something destroying our community, the same time where, the man was already out the house for the woman to receive benefits. Everything, all these democratic policies coming at the same time as the civil rights era was bringing in people who were not benefiting from it inside our community. So all of this comes together at the same time. I'm the man to bring it because I would call a spade a spade. I know what's out there. I'm already having the conversations. And what really perturbs me is if I'm having these conversations with industries as a candidate, 8 months in, why couldn't my predecessors, the people who are holding office, have it for the last 50 years?
Wow. That's an indictment. That's an indictment on them. If you're saying you've already begun having conversations with people in these industries to talk to them about bringing certain industries back to the Flint and Detroit area, it
Mm-hmm.
demonstrates, I think it proves the point that Democrats are not pro-Americans. And they're
No.
definitely not pro-black, right? Because if there are people still in these communities that, like you, like I remember when uncle worked at the
Mm-hmm.
plant, grandpa worked
Mm-hmm.
at the plant, all my uncles. I mean, it was middle class America, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing to see. So
Mm-hmm.
your candidacy does bring me hope. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see you run. It was such a pleasure and a joy to just talk to you at the event. You were a breath of fresh air. You weren't spouting the usual talking points. I do think you bring a new flavor and would bring a new, different flavor to Congress.
Yeah.
So, give me your final thoughts. What is it that you want the audience to know about you before we wrap up?
I think we have to get back to a point where we're appointing people that really stand for our values. And not, like you said, not talking points, but really people you see in the community. I'm a father. I'm raising my 5-year-old daughter. I'm outside because I'm living life and I see what legislatively has hurt us or what could help us. And we have to get back. We have to get to a point. And this is the real point. When we spoke about urban conservatives, we have to get to a point where us as people in the black community, we have choice. No longer do you say simply because of representation you went with one party or simply because you felt like they were there more often. No, we have people on both sides that you can go speak to. I'm not going to tell you to vote for me. I'm going to tell you to vote for the person who is best represents you and the values you believe in. And if you have access to them, do you see them at church? Do you see them at the games? Do you see them out and about, or you only see them on TV, or somebody else has to escort them to your community?
Mm,
That's it. I'm not a politician by trade. I've been serving this country for the last 20 years in some capacity. Even before I went into the military, I went to school, Bethune-Cookman University. Shout out to the
oh,
HBCUs.
HBCU, okay.
Hey,
He
listen,
cooking with
my
grease
brothers
now.
graduated. Yeah, I got to rep my Wildcats. My brother graduated from Hampton. I went to school to be a teacher. I went to school because I always believe in service, and I believe education is the key to the future. However, it has to be taught properly, and it can't be biased and slanted. Everything shouldn't be, I have a dream speech when you don't even understand about the confines or the what we have in legislation and the government. You don't understand civics. You don't understand psychology and how the brain works. No, it's a part of it. It's not the whole piece. So let's not limit ourselves. Let's not tell ourselves we only can be one way or think one way. We're not a monolith. I refuse to be a monolith. I am going to say diversity of thought is our future, and I hope to be a champion of it. And if I don't do it, what Tupac said, I hope to be the spark that lights that flame.
Oh, Lord. Listen, Amir, you have been a pleasure and a joy. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, tell my audience, how can they support your campaign? What is the campaign website? What are the next benchmarks that you need to reach? Give us all the details before we sign off.
I appreciate that. Flipthe8th.com. I always say I'm going to flip the eighth in a quarter zip.
Yes. No. Listen, his hair's combed, his pants ain't sagging. He wears
No,
quarter
we're going to
zip.
flip the eighth in a quarter zip. Hey, the only thing, but flipthe8th.com is my website. That's me on all my socials, and my Facebook is Hassan4MI. But Flip the Eighth is where you'll see me most active: TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter or X. So please tap in. I run my socials. So if you want to have a conversation, if you disagree with something, we can have a conversation. Let's just have real conversation and not just name calling, mud sling, because I could do that too, but it's not important. It's petty. It's beneath us. Let's move this country forward. Let's come together and figure out the best way to move this country forward without distraction and deflection.
All right, you guys, we're bringing masculinity back to American politics.
Let's talk about
You
it.
got Amir Hassan running in Michigan's, is it the 8th district?
The 8th Congressional District, yes, ma'am.
8th Congressional District. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, you guys. Until next time, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.